Are you a real estate agent struggling to hit the record button, afraid to get on camera? You've done the hard work of writing the script, but now you're stuck staring at your camera, wondering how to actually record and produce professional looking videos? I've been there. What's up, guys? My name is AJ Maida, and I've been helping real estate agents just like you build their YouTube presence and generate leads through video content. In today's video, my friend Kyle is going to walk you through his exact step-by-step process for recording, editing, and publishing YouTube videos that convert viewers into clients. We're going to cover everything from the teleprompter setup he uses to recording techniques and finding affordable video editors and the exact equipment we use to create consistent professional content. Let's dive in.
Let's go ahead and kick things off, guys. We had some homework, and I want to start with the homework first and foremost to see who did their homework. I already see some scared faces as far as putting your first script together, because that's what we did on the last call, was scripting out your video. Because today we're going to talk about how to shoot that video, and I'm going to run you through how I shoot my videos once I have the script ready to go. Because quite honestly, all the way up till this point, that's the hardest work. Making the script, coming up with a title, coming up with a description, what you're going to write, having an outline of what you're going to talk about. That's honestly what takes me the most amount of time. Once I get to this point and I've got my script, it takes me like 20, 30 minutes to shoot the video, send it off to my editor, boom. And then before you know it, it's up on YouTube, right? So that being said, let me get some hand raises for who has a script that they've done with the kind of the format that I had put together last 2 weeks ago. We talked about your hook, your story, your offer, like going through that kind of a thing. And remember, I'd said your story can either be you writing it out specifically, like exactly word for word, or you could do it as like an outline, but you got to hook them in the beginning. So I want to see what y'all's hook is. Right? That's 3 sentences maybe that you grab somebody's attention. And then you've got like your little segment. Let's just look at it. It seems like you're not the only one. So at least you're the brave enough one to show. Let's take a look. All right. So you got in the beginning, here's your hook. Are you tired of the rent race and thinking about buying? Are you thinking about buying a home? If so, you're not alone. In today's video, we're going to talk about what it really means when you buy a home. Buying a home is a huge financial decision, but it's also an emotional one. It can be tough to calculate whether or not you can afford to buy a home, but the emotional side of things is often overlooked. To gauge if you're ready, heart, mind, and means to stop renting and buy. Think about these below the surface questions. So you're like jumping right into it, basically. You basically got your hook and you're cruising right into it. I would say maybe break it up just as a hair, right? To speak to people who may not know who you are first to kind of build your credibility, because not everybody who's going to see this video may have seen any of your other videos. Maybe after that longer paragraph, like paragraph 2. So like where you got so are you tired of the rent race and thinking about buying? That's like your first thing, right? So if that's your hook, then I might change the second sentence, because then you basically said it again. Are you thinking about buying a home? Because you just said, are you tired of the rent race and thinking about buying? Are you thinking about buying a home? So yeah, so I would take that out and be like, are you tired of the rent race thinking about buying? If so, you're not alone. In today's video, we're going to talk about what it means when you buy a home. And then, we're going to talk about what it means to buy a home. Then I would maybe put something in there about, because I look at the problem is what you just specified. And then you're going to want to put a little bit about your credibility there, and then offer up like how you're going to solve it, all in that first hook. So you're going to put something like, I've helped, however many, I don't know if you've helped a lot of clients, but even if it's a few, just I've helped many clients, or if you've helped hundreds, you can say I've helped hundreds of clients who've experienced the same or had the same thoughts in my career as a real estate agent. So in today's video, I'm going to share the 3 blah, blah, blahs that you need to know about buying a home, right? Or something like that, or buying a home and getting out and stop renting or something. I'm going to share the 3 tips or the 5 tips, right? So give them like a quick thing, right? To just boom now. And then you jump into, hey, everybody, I'm Estrella and I'm a real estate agent in this market, blah, 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 like a couple bullet points, like you're unique, something that makes you unique, like 1 or 2 things. Let people know what the next step with you could be. If you do have something you can offer them, if it's like a free guide, like on buying a home, if it's free, you could throw that in there. Hey, and by the way, I would love to give you a free gift. Head over to estrellagallegos.com/gift. and go grab my free buying guide today. All right, now let's hop right in, right? And then you go into the next section. That's the format, right? You got your hook. You've got like a little bit about you. It should only take 30 seconds or less about you, and then you jump into the actual like article or the video that you're going to make. So that's when you would say, okay, cool. Now buying a home is a huge financial decision, but it's also an emotional one. It can be tough to calculate whether or not you can afford to buy a home, but the emotional side of things is often overlooked. The one thing and that's why like it's easy to do as like a list or stuff like that, is you just want to make sure that once you get going, that you don't lose people because you're just like talking a lot. If you can like keep it organized for them to where they understand like what they're going to learn. So be like, there's 3 things that I'm going to share with you. And those 3 things are X, Y, and Z. Here, I'm going to go a little bit more into detail about the first part, which is X, right? And then you just start on there. And then that way they have a sense of where you're at any point in the video. And you can even break those up into like chapters. And so if you're creating a script, if you're creating an outline, you just got to have the outline. If you're creating a script, you still have the outline, and then you flesh out what I'm talking about, the bullet points or whatever. I can't really see from what I'm seeing just on the screen right now, like how outlined it is. It looks like here, it says, first, do you feel like you have enough money to buy a home? Debt to income ratio. What is your credit history like? How much you said for down payment? So here's the thing I'll caution you. And I mean, you can do this video, like I'm not telling you to change it, but just in future, like thinking like when you start asking a lot of questions like that, you may start to lose a lot of people. Cause like it's like a beginner style video. Like even after that first question, first, do you feel like you have enough money to buy a home? What will your new budget be like after purchasing a home? Are there like you've already asked like a lot of questions. Then you're going to say, what is your debt to income ratio? They still haven't even comprehended those first questions. And you're jumping into these next questions. That's going to be a very overwhelming experience. So maybe just slowing down, like almost, it sounds like a lot of what you're talking about here. I mean, you could break down into multiple videos, quite honestly. Like I try, whenever I'm thinking of a video, is you got to think of it from a very basic beginner standpoint. If somebody's coming with, they don't even know, they probably don't know, what a so you explained it. A debt to income ratio is the percentage of monthly debt payments that go towards paying off loans. That's a lot, like credit history. That could be a whole video about talking about credit. And so the great thing about that, this is just a new way of thinking, is it's not bad if you're like listing these things out as like stuff they need to consider. If your thing was like in the outline, your first bullet point was like, it's difficult to buy a home. You got to think about your debt to income ratio, your credit history, how much to save for down payment. It's one thing to mention those as in just talking about it. But if I don't know, if you're just like asking questions that they actually do need to think about, that might be a little confusing to go like question, a question, a question, a question. But let's see here, go a little further down. I can't scroll your screen. Let's see how much. Okay. So yeah, see, it's a lot of questions in here. That's all that I'm seeing here. But you are answering, it looks like, some of these. So I'm seeing here where you're saying like, how long do you plan on staying in your next home? Buying a home is much more permanent there. So I don't even know that I would ask these questions. It sounds like I would almost just take the question out and use the answers to your questions and organize those almost to where here are some of the things that you need to consider when buying a home. Buying a home is much more permanent than renting. If you know that you'll be in your next home for a year or two, then buying may not be the best. For only a year or two, then buying may not be the best option. Yeah, there's definitely a lot there. All right, cool. So I would say if you could maybe just try and organize them a little bit, maybe take a little out of it and then expand on some of those topics a little bit more. Just because like when you're speaking it out, like if somebody's reading it, they can comprehend, they can take it and take some time if they need to reread or whatever. So like on a blog. But if you're like on video and you're just asking these questions like back to back, like they may not have even like really comprehended the last one because you're only putting like a sentence afterwards or maybe 2 sentences. So like spoken, that might only take 10 seconds. It's like you're doing this and then you're answering it, doing this and answering it. That's really quick. And so like maybe doing less, but expanding on it a little bit more, maybe even inserting your own like expertise, share a story. I was helping Bob and Susie and they were in that same position where they didn't know how long they'd be moving into their next home. They thought maybe it might only be a year or two. So I explained to them it might be better to rent or whatever, come up with a story just to expand on your point a little bit longer. Not to mention like, how long is this script? Do you know how many words? Can you do like a word count on that? 538 words. Yeah, so that's probably like a 5-minute or less video if you're doing it like 4 minutes. So that's going to be going quick, right? Like typically if you're writing out a script, like I aim for about 1,500 to 2,000 words for a 12-minute video. So that's pretty good. If you're just trying to do like a real quick, like in a, I don't know, advertisement or something, if it's just like an ad or something where it's supposed to be short, then like 3 to 4 minutes, then yeah, do 500 words. But that's where you could take those points, expand them out a bit, and then it won't be so like back to back.
What's the ideal length for a YouTube video?
Yeah, I think anything above 8 minutes is good. So 8 to 12 minutes. If some are 15, that's fine. Every now and then, I've had a 20-minute video, but that's kind of the longest that I'd want it to be. Live streams, you can go an hour or 2 hours, whatever. But like on an actual like evergreen YouTube video that you want to be out there for a long time, I wouldn't make it any longer than 8 to 12 to 15 minutes. If you're noticing that you're writing, you need like more time, like you're like, oh man, I'm writing 3,000 words or something or whatever for your script. Or if you're doing like a bullet points and you're just doing an outline and you're getting a lot of bullet points in there, then you might need to think of how do I break this into 2 videos or 3 videos or whatever. Once you start to break things to like simplicity, then you'll start to realize it's easy. It's better to go longer on less things and just create a whole nother video than to try and squeeze a bunch into just one video.
Got it.
And one of the things too, real quick, if you can pull that back up, because I just want to look at the ending spot where you can close out the video, like what you put there. All right, so then it's finally, what do you think about what home means to you? So this is still part of the story. The first step towards homeownership is saying with confidence to yourself and others, let's do this. Once you're ready to dive in, the next step is finding a professional realtor who can guide you through the process. That would be me. Love that. I would be honored to help you with that. Feel free to give me a call or send an email today if you're thinking about buying a home. If you're ever interested in getting together, be sure to call or text me at this number. I look forward to working with you soon. So here would be my suggestion there. So number one, put in there somewhere, hey, like this video. If you got any value out of this video, be sure to like it. Subscribe to my channel as I release a new video every week. Give them a reason why they should subscribe. And then what you might want to do is strengthen that call to action a little bit better. If you just tell people to call or text or email you, chances are they aren't going to do any of those. However, if you give them a better, more like what's in it for them type of a thing, clear direction, you have a much better chance at getting them to perform that action. For instance, you might say something like, hey, by the way, I love to give a free buyer consultation or listing analysis with no obligations to use me. If that sounds like something you're interested in, set up a free 30-minute consult with me at estrellagallegos.com/consult. That sends them to like your Calendly where they can like book directly on your calendar. Like I would do something like that versus the call or text, because typically, number one, I don't want my cell phone out there because you just might get creeped. You never like, I don't want my cell phone out there. But then number two, I still don't think that most people are going to take you up on that offer because it's what's in it for me. Even if they like you, but still, do I want to call this person right now? But it's if I know that I want to know what my buying power is, say, hey, if you'd like to know what your buying power is, because you just did a video about like how to buy a house, basically. If you would like to know how much home you can afford and you want me to take a look at your purchasing power and share it with you, jump on a free 30-minute consultation with me. So now you've related it to the video, you give them the next step, and then they can do it on their own free time by doing it on your Calendly. Does that make sense? All right, what else we got? Who's the next brave one?
I have mine ready to go.
All right, let's see it. So when up at the top in the hook, I like the hook so far. The only thing I would change is instead of saying some points, I would say how many points. And I would say, here are 3 points that most people don't know, or most home buyers, home sellers, clients don't know, or here are 5 key things that clients that I've worked with have shared that they're appreciative of having a realtor. Something that's, just make points be more important, right? So here are however many points you've got. Here are 5 key points. Now just here are some points. So make it important. That will help you, not could, that will help you make the decision on whether or not a realtor will be the best move for you. Because could sounds very wishy-washy, right? You're not certain of it. So if you're not certain of it, then why are they going to be certain of it? So, so just that's maybe on that hook, because the hook needs to stand out, right? Like it's got to be like confident, ready to go. Yeah, maybe just, look into that. And then, so here, find that making this move. Cool. Perfect. Okay. Now we can keep going. So now I see you jumped into the video. You got your bullet points there, which is perfect. Now, before that, though, just make sure you do save some time to talk a little bit about who you are, to share just 30 seconds or less, that you're a real estate agent here, a unique thing about you that you love to do with your clients. It could be accolades. It could just be something unique about your personality, something you believe in, and say, all right, cool. Now let's dive in. So now you're going into talking about, let's see, you got off-market properties. Yep. You got negotiations important. You got contracts, helping them with the paperwork. Know what to look out for. Perfect. Yep. Keeping them. And then most your money in your pocket. Oh yeah. Get you the most amount of money in your pocket as a seller. Perfect. Yeah. And you got stats there. That's awesome. Because that is the thing for sure. If you're doing this on an outline and you're not doing it as a full script, definitely if there's stats that you want to reference, I would put those in your outline because it's hard to memorize those just like it's the top of your head. And just make sure stats, you can put that in your outline just to make sure you do that. But then that, to me, that looks really good. So if you can do that, if you can just be like, and that's the thing, that's the cool thing about video editing is this doesn't have to be one take, right? So like you can just look over and be like, okay, off-market properties, relationship built with other agents, inventory for or from your own team. So then I would say, all right, so number 2 is you definitely need to hire a realtor because you will never know what properties are out there that are off market just on your own. And then talk a little bit about, I've got relationships built with agents all over the city. And that's a real advantage of using a real estate agent. And you'll just start spitballing around like as you're going, you don't have to, I'm just like using what you said and like how you would do that, basically taking that. And if it sounds good to you, boom, you just keep going. If it doesn't, then you just start again.
Yeah.
The second point is off-market properties, and you try and say it a different way. And then literally when you get it right, and then you just move on to the next section, right? So that's how you would do it if you're doing it like how you do it with just like an outline there versus a script.
How should I close the video?
Same thing as I told Estrella, basically, that would be your soft closing where it's, hey, it's almost not even like a closing. You're not even asking a question. It's like, you're basically saying, I hope you got so much value out of this. Please hit that like button and consider subscribing as I release new videos every week. And I don't want you to miss them. But really, if you are in that position where you're trying to consider using a realtor or not, definitely consider setting up a free consultation with me, no obligations. If you feel it's not the right fit for you, then hey, we can go our own way. But it's a free 30-minute segment where I'll take all of what you are looking to do, your goals for either buying or selling a home, and I'll share how we would accomplish those goals together. And if you think that it works out, great. Here's my link I'll put my link in the calendar, put my link to the calendar in my description below, or you can head to jake.com/consult. So it would be just basically related to the video. If you can, at this point now, like where I do my call to action, it's the same one, right? It's my partner call to action every single time, right? So I don't even have to change it up. But you could either just think one time of what you want your call to action. Be like when I told Estrella, it's, if you're a buyer or seller in the San Antonio real estate market and you're thinking of purchasing a home or selling your home here in the next 90 days, please set up a time for a free consultation with me just so I can give you the process of buying, or I can give you what I believe your home would sell for in today's market, absolutely for free. It takes 30 minutes. We'll do it via Zoom, boom, boom, and then head over to jake.com. You could just do like something like that and literally just boilerplate it into every one of your videos. Yeah. But I would either do one of those two, have one that's templated and you use it every time, or if you want to do a little bit more work and change it up to maybe make it more specific to speak to the video that you just made, you can definitely do it like that. But always direct them to the same place, ideally, which is like to set up a consult with you. You always want that to be like the next step. And then beyond just liking and subscribing, the other one that you can always do too is if you have some kind of a freebie or some kind of a giveaway, I always put this one in the front part of my videos where it's like, hey, I want to give you a gift. Head over here to download the free buyer and seller guide. That way you can get their email address, because you may get some people that are like, they're not ready to set up a consult, but they might want to see what you're about and they want to get a free thing from you. And so maybe they'll go give you their email address and then you can still follow up and remarket and all that kind of stuff to them. Yep. But yeah, so I put the hard closing at the end and I put the softer closing at the beginning, and then I put the can subscribe at both. So I'll tell them in the beginning of the video to can subscribe just because it's so quick. And I tell them can subscribe at the end of the video also, just as a reminder. All right, so then what we're going to do now real quick is I will show you. So this is my process. So literally this is my teleprompter right here, right? And I'm going to put it on my camera and I'm going to show you how I will actually record a video, right? So all my stuff is literally set up to where at any point in time, I can record a video. So now my teleprompter is on. Y'all probably can't. It's a little darker now. That's about it. But I could bump up the lighting on my camera, but I think we're fine for this at least. But I want you to see, that's, I think, one important thing is if you can set up a thing where you have a dedicated camera space where you don't have to like constantly get it put up and take it down and set the lights up all the way you want them. If you have it always to where it's ready to go and literally all you have to do is turn on the camera, hit record, that's what you need, right? You'll start recording way more content versus if you have to set stuff up, that's just one reason, one excuse to not do it, right? And so make it as easy as possible for you. And that's why, like I say, yeah, the phone can work, but a lot of times like the phone, you use the phone for other things. So it's like, I got to set my phone up. I got to hook the mic, the lights, whatever. And so whereas if you have a dedicated camera that all you use it for is to make your YouTube videos and it sits there until you use it, that's the ideal way to do it. Now, obviously I get for budget reasons stuff. If you can't do it, then you got to make do with what you got. But eventually, if you can get to that point where you've got your exact setup the way you need it, then great. All right. So here's what we're going to do. So I use an app called Prompt Smart Pro. If you're doing like an outline, you probably don't need to even have a teleprompter or even do this, but you could just have a notepad open up on your computer. You could have it on your desk, whatever. But if you're like literally doing it where you've scripted out the whole video, you open up the app, you import I use Google Docs. So it literally will link to your Google Docs and you can see the file in there and you just literally import it in here. And then you hit play. When you hit play, it basically looks like this. Let's see if it'll. Oops, there we go. Here. Start it over. I had already done this video, so it's starting at the bottom. But here you go. So y'all can see if it'll, I don't know if it'll focus in on it. There you go. So there, that's like what my script looks like. So I've got my hook at the beginning, right? It looks backwards to y'all, but here, like when it's on the mirror, to me, it's going to look forwards. And so like I put my phone in here because that's what I'm using the app. And I just insert my phone into my deal. I turn my brightness on my phone all the way up so that way it's super bright so I can read it. And then literally I hit play and it's going to start. You can't see any of this, but all the words are going to start scrolling down. You'll find out like what your speed, like what your pace is as far as speaking, because it'll start scrolling for you automatically. And if it's scrolling too fast, you can slow the speed down. So you're not like, oh my God, like this is going way too fast. If it's scrolling too slow, you can speed it up. That way you'll keep up with it. But I'll give you an idea. So here's like a video. I'll just do the hook at the beginning. You don't have to spend a fortune to be a professional landscaper or designer to add curb appeal to your home. With a little creativity and elbow grease, you can spruce up your home's exterior in no time, right? And so I keep mine a little slower. So that way, if I want to stop and take a pause, right? Like I can just catch up and just stop and think a little bit for a second. Here are 23 quick and easy curb appeal ideas for every budget. Okay, so that was the hook, right? Quick and simple. Now it goes into my intro. What's going on, everyone? I'm Kyle Handy. My partner, Mark Ramaker, and I are your house heroes. Together, we've been selling real estate for over 20 years, right? So you can hear this is how I'm going in and talking a little bit about it. We're here because we want to empower home buyers and home sellers through education, sharing insider tips, and discussing market trends. So if you're confused or just want to know everything that you need to know about getting the best deal or selling your home for the most money, you're in the right place, right? So you're just like, in the beginning, it's to get like the inflection in your voice. Like you have to get confidence to do it like the way that you're going to want to do it. But as you start to read from a teleprompter and you start to get better just at like how you say things, it starts to get a lot easier. You might fumble across it the first few times you do it, but eventually it's just like anything. With practice, you'll get better at it. So yeah, I could go through this whole thing, but I don't think there's a whole lot of points that you get the idea, right? It's just reading off of a thing, right? Let's see. So yeah, so once that's, and the other part of it too. So depending on how you have your camera set up and like your equipment that you're using, like I use this mic. This is a condenser mic. And I use obviously a different DSLR camera to record my footage. And so I end up getting 2 files, right, for my deal. If you're recording audio straight to your camera and you're using like a mic that's on your camera, then of course you can record it all into one file, but it just depends like what type of mic you want that you're using. Like I've found that the mics that you put on camera, even if they're like an upgraded, like a shotgun mic or something like that, they're not going to be as good as like a digital condenser mic. And so you might just want to look at that. If you are using like a digital condenser mic, like what I'm using, I literally will just, let me share my screen so you can see here, desktop one. What I do is I open up my voice memos app, and here's all my voice memos, right? I just record them literally as a voice memo because this is like super high quality voice recordings, and you'll be able to hear it. There we go. Now you can see it's recording, right? So this is how you would record. And by the way, we have teams all over the place. So if you're in need of a house hero for your next home purchase or sale, head over to yourhousehero.com/consult to get a free buyer or seller consultation, right? So like you can see how it's just recording. And then so what I do then, let me turn off this screen share, is I take that audio file and I take my video file that came off my camera, and I just send it to my video editor, and literally he syncs it up in the editing app that he uses. And it sounds amazing, right? I think I might've showed this 2 weeks ago, how it all works, right? Like when you go into the editing side of it, but editing is a whole nother beast, right? So we could spend a lot of time talking about editing. I'll be honest though. I think most agents, you're better served just trying to like produce more content and not try and edit it yourself. If you've got to edit it yourself, definitely there's training out there for you to take to do it. That's not something that I don't think we'll be able to have time to do like in this series. Maybe I'll have to just do like a separate video or a series, or if you just can find other people that are already doing video editing. But yeah, I think your best bet is to find an editor. You can find editors like on average, I'd say $60 a video for a talking head video is like what you should look for. I pay about $100 right now, which I'm overpaying. I already know that I am. I like the quality that I get, but at the same time, I know I can get similar quality for less, knowing what I know now. But I've just been loyal and I've been using this person for a while. But if you wanted to, $60 a video, I think it's well worth your time to not ever have to learn it, to get something that's professional. Because even if you learn it, it's still not going to be as good typically as a professional who that's all they do for a living. That's just, can you take it seriously, treat it like a business? Yes, it's an expense. It's a write-off, and it will be a good expense. It's not like you're just wasting your money on an editor, because that's typically the thing that everybody gets held up on. And if you can just take that off your plate, you'll just make more content, like period, bar none. Because like even when I knew how to edit the videos, I created less content because I didn't want to even create content anymore, because I was like, now I got to go edit that video. You don't even know how many videos that I've got recorded that like I never even published because I didn't want to edit them. And so I was like, I've literally recorded tons and tons of videos that I've never published just because I never got around to editing them. And so you don't want to get in that position where, especially if you've taken all the time to do the research, make an outline, record a video, and then you're like, no, I don't want to edit it, or I don't want the time or whatever. Don't get in that position. Okay. That is the recording process. Pretty simple. It's difficult to find your voice at first, and you're going to feel like you sound weird, and you're going to be like, oh, I don't like the way that video came out or that it sounds. But the biggest advice I can give you there is just publish it. Even if it's not your best work, if you're not super happy how you sound or how maybe the editor edited it right away, publish it, move on to the next one, and just keep doing it and keep going. And it'll get better. I promise you, it will get better over time. The editor, you can give them some tweaks maybe the next time around. Hey, I'd rather, you do this or that, or give them some examples. Sometimes if editors don't do good work, it's because you didn't give them the good example to go by. So if there's like a style of video that you like, send them that YouTube link. Be like, hey, this next video, I'd like you to do my video, but use these transitions, use these lower thirds, use these kind of graphics or whatever. And most of the time, if they're a good video editor, they'll take that feedback and they can make it better the next time around. Recording settings, like I always try and record it in 1080p now. You can do 4K. Like I do still record mine in 4K now, but 1080p is more than enough. So it just depends if you got a big internet speed, like I got 1 gigabit per second upload and download speed or whatever. So literally it doesn't take me that much longer to send a big file like that. But with 4K, most of my video files are like 20 gigabytes or more, like 20 to 25 gigabytes. And I'm going to send that over to my video editor, right? And so I use a program called WeTransfer. If you go to WeTransfer, it was like $100 for the year or something like that. So it's not cheap, but it's not like super expensive either. But you come here, there we go. And so like literally if I've got a video file, let's just say this was my video file, all I have to do is drag it here. and drop it like it's hot, it says. And then I find my video editor, boosh, Super Lexi Graphics. I can add the audio file in here as well. So if I wanted to grab, let's just say the audio file was, find one of these ones here, escrow. Drop that in there. Okay. So now I got 2 files, and then I can title it whatever I want, and I transfer it over to him, and now he's got it. And the other cool thing about WeTransfer is that when they download it, I can see when they downloaded it. So that's pretty helpful, because if I send a video on Tuesday and then I see David didn't open it until Friday, and then all of a sudden he doesn't give me the video until Sunday, when I'm trying to publish it on Monday, I'm usually like, dude, David, what's going on, man? I sent this to you Tuesday. How come I'm just getting it on Sunday? And so you have that insight into it as well. So not that it shouldn't come up that often. Like, I've had to have that conversation before, but now as long as you're working with a good person, you shouldn't have to have it too long.
Do you use your camera's screen to see yourself while recording?
Yeah, I've got my external monitor up above my camera, so I can see. Here, I'll take a picture. I'll throw it in the group again. So like, for instance, so you can see this picture, right? If for some reason like the battery died, or if like the file filled up too much, and usually I try and pay attention to that stuff so it doesn't happen, but if it did happen and I have to split it into 2 files, I can do that. It's more work for the editor. So honestly, it is better. Even if you screw up, even if you have to stop for a minute or two, if you're gonna have to stop and go eat lunch or something, and you're not gonna leave it record for 30 minutes. But if it's just somebody calls and you got to take a call real quick or something in 30 seconds, they'll edit that out. That's no big deal. I'll just leave it running. But yeah, I just hit record on my camera. I hit record on the voice memos app, and then literally I clap just like this twice. That way he can sync up the audio in post. I'm pretty sure you can do it without doing that, but it does make it easier. Because obviously, if you hit record on your camera, you're not going to hit record on the voice memos app at the exact same time. And so it's not going to be synced up on its own. So like, they have to manually do it. So that's why by clapping, because even your voice, like if he was just trying to sync it up by your voice, it's hard because sometimes your lips can be off a little bit and you don't know for sure. Whereas if you clap, that I've heard that makes it a little bit easier. So yeah, once I'm done with that particular video file,
yeah, and that's what you were using that thing for? That's what I was confused about. Or that's just from, yeah, or you're downloading it to your computer and then WeTransferring to your editor.
Yeah, so basically I take the SD card, like once I'm done, and normally I'll record 3 or 4 videos at a time, right? So I'll have 3 scripts lined up, and so I record, then between each video, I do stop the recording. So I'm not just gonna go like 3 videos on one file, but I'll do all of one video on a file, I stop. I'll do another video, stop, another video, stop. And then typically I'll take my SD card out, put it into my computer, take that footage, transfer it over to my computer first, and then I transfer it and drop it onto WeTransfer. You have to leave WeTransfer open because it literally will be uploading. And depending on how big the file is, it could take 5 minutes, it could take 30 minutes, right? And it'll just upload. And then when it says it's done, it'll say done uploading. And then it shoots over the email to your video editor or whoever you're sending it to. And then whenever they're done with it, whenever they've edited it, they can send it back. If they've got a WeTransfer account, they can just WeTransfer it to you, or they can send it in Google Drive. Typically, once it's edited, it'll be a lot smaller file size, especially if they edit it down like to 1080p or anything like that. When they've cut out a bunch of the video, then it'll be a much smaller file size. So, or if you want, they can also, I've had video editors in the past. If you trust them, if you have a brand account on YouTube, you can have them upload the footage directly to your account as like an unlisted video. And then you can just go in once it's on there and then basically add in all the details, the tags, titles, thumbnails, all that kind of stuff. I still like to have the footage, like the actual like file though. So that's why I still want to get the file. Because if you download it just from YouTube, it's only 720p when you download from them. Whereas if you're getting a 1080p file or 4K file, they're going to need to send that directly to you, not just put it on YouTube. So now here's the fun part. So so what we've got to do now, you already know the homework for next week, and it's going to be, because now we've got to the point where you know what the outline should look like. Some of you have actually made the outline, some of you have not, but if you have not, you're not excluded from this homework. You're going to need to do this homework for next week, and that is to record your first YouTube video. All right. And we're going to go and we're going to look at them. We'll critique. We'll look at the background setup. We'll look at like the quality, how the camera, the image comes out. But I'm not talking like raw footage. I want to see like an edited video as to what you would upload to YouTube. Okay. So if all you've got is the raw footage, because maybe you didn't get it back from the editor, you waited or something like that, then I'll take a look at that too. But ideally, I would much rather see something that's been edited. You're basically ready to put it onto YouTube. But now next week, what we're going to be covering is the actual optimization side of it. And like when you're ready to upload, what you need to be doing to make sure that it hits on SEO, all the SEO points. We're going to talk about like promotion and like what you can do to basically get that video. Because the most important thing when you upload any video is how well it does in the first few hours, first day or so, right? So getting as many eyeballs on that thing is going to be really important, especially when you're a small channel. Once you have subscribers and they can look at it and give YouTube like a thumbs up, thumbs down, whether that video is good or not. So if YouTube should put it out, then it's a little bit easier. But in the beginning, you have to force people to see those videos just to get any traction going. So a little bit more work in the beginning. So I'll talk a little bit about that process and whatnot.
I was gonna say I put out one video, that one I had sent you recently, and I got a lead from it.
Look at that.
Dude, one video, they're pre-qualified and we're shopping this weekend.
Dang.
Awesome. Good job.
Yeah, it was really crazy. I was like, so it's weird because they called, like they texted me and they didn't say anything about YouTube. So then I asked them when I hop on the phone, like, where did you see my info? They were like, we actually were on YouTube and we saw your video and you made it seem super easy. So we figured we reach out, like you answered all of our questions in that one video. So we had no reason to not call. And I was like, dang. So we got them pre-qualified and they're good for about 280.
I love that. Cool. Let's see. What else do we got?
What should I budget for my YouTube channel?
It doesn't have to be much. The main expenses you're going to incur are if you do have a video editor, right? Like you're going to pay that video editor. So figure out if it's $60 a video and you're doing 2 videos a week, that's 8 videos a month. You're going to spend $480, right? Just in video editing. And you can pretty much do the rest. If you need thumbnails, might be like $7 to $10 per thumbnail. But if you're doing 8 videos, that might be another $80. And so, but that's $400 or $500. If you have TubeBuddy subscription, it might be $20, $30 a month. Equipment, that's like a one-time purchase. You're not going to really video editing software. Even if you are editing your own videos, that's typically a one-time purchase. I purchased Final Cut Pro 10. It's $300. I've got it now. I'm sure there's different ways that you can buy things that are maybe more subscription based, like for editing, but I don't know which programs those are. Yeah, I think that's the big one. That's the nice thing about YouTube. You don't have to pay for hosting. You don't have to pay for any of that kind of stuff like you would a blog. Less expenses there. And really, there's not a whole lot of tools that you need for YouTube. Maybe just TubeBuddy. It's pretty minimal, just labor intensive. It's so hard to measure ROI when it comes down to it, because here's the thing is like ROI, especially for evergreen content, like you make a video one time. Let's just say Rick's video, right? That he made that one time. Let's say he closes that deal and he makes $6,000 in commission from it. That's not even the full true ROI, because that video might get somebody 8 months down the road, 12 months, 15 months, right? It's so hard to truly measure when you start compounding your efforts as to what the ROI is. But I just know that, that literally it's the best ROI compared to anything. If you're going to spend money on like Facebook ads, or if you're going to spend money on Google ads, that's like linear ROI. You can typically easily tell what the ROI is on that, because once you stop spending, you stop getting what you're doing, right? Whereas like with YouTube, because you're not really spending, it's free advertising essentially for you, but it can go on forever. It's really hard to track it, but I just know that it is very good. I'm the same way. I love to track stuff, but in the beginning, especially, it's important to track your income and expenses at a high level, but don't get too bogged down on it, because I will say just create content and the ROI will be there, but it might take a little bit, but it still isn't going to take that long. Rick does his first video, he gets a deal. So I'm not even going to say that it takes a year to get deals, right? It doesn't take that long. But if you do it the right way, you can get deals right away. Cool, guys. I've got to jump. I hope that was helpful. Have a great rest of the week, and I'll talk to you later.
So there you have it, the complete process for taking your video scripts and turning them into professional YouTube content. From teleprompter setup to finding the right video editor, you now have everything you need to get started to create consistent lead generating videos. Just like Rick, who saw his first qualified lead from his first video a buyer ready to purchase at $280,000, you can start seeing results immediately when you follow this system. If this video has helped you at all, hit the subscribe button and be sure to hit the notification bell as well so you don't miss future videos. This is part of a 5-part series, so make sure you check the next one coming up. And if you're just looking for more help, you want to actually partner with someone who can mentor you and get you to that next level with your YouTube strategy, then book a free consultation with us where we'll discuss your goals, your market, and how YouTube can become your biggest lead generation tool. Check out kylehandy.com/partner. And if you just want to get started right away, I put together a free guide in the description. It's called the Real Estate Agent's YouTube Starter Kit. We'll go over scripts, equipment, recommendations, and my exact upload checklist. Again, I'll put that link in the description. See you in the next video.